withdrawal and rescue operation was successful is patently false. The withdrawal represents a huge conceptual, intelligence, and operational failure. The administration had months, if not years, to prepare the evacuation, and turns out that it didn't work. The administration itself admitted that it was wrong about the force, about the ability of the Taliban to take over Afghanistan so fast. And they were also surprised by the fast disintegration of the Afghani military. So this was not a successful operation. Biden may have been right by deciding to withdraw from Afghanistan. About 2/3 of the American public agreed that the United States should withdraw. But right now, 2/3 of the American public, including many Democrats, disapprove of his handling of the situation in Afghanistan. And this is the reason for his speech yesterday. I believe that those who don't like him will use this case against him. Those who like him perhaps may be more forgiven.
How do you explain the fact that the U.S. was so wrong in its assessment of the situation on the ground in Afghanistan? How come they didn't know that the Taliban would be able to take over the whole country so quickly?
Just about a month ago, a little bit more than a month ago, Biden said when he asked in a press conference if Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan is inevitable. And he said, it is. And his explanation was that the Afghani army was 3 times larger than the Taliban force, like 300,000 versus 70,000 people, soldiers. So this is a wrong calculation. This is a mental misunderstanding of the balance of military power in such situations, because the Taliban was much more determined. It was motivated by religious fanaticism. So you don't just count heads. And even worse than that, Biden made a huge mistake by saying we are going to withdraw by a certain date, and we think that the Taliban is likely to take over in about 3 months. The regular Afghani soldier and even many of the people said if the Taliban is going to take over, we should side with him rather than with the government and the military.
Eytan, Gilboa, what should the U.S. and its allies do now with regards to the Taliban regime? Is not acknowledging it an option?
See, the problem, the main challenge would be terrorism. We should remember that the reason for the United States invasion and occupation of Afghanistan was Al-Qaeda and the attacks exactly 20 years ago on New York and Washington. So today, Taliban is in control of Afghanistan. Taliban 20 years ago helped and sponsored and gave shelter to Al-Qaeda. Today, ISIS is stronger, and perhaps Al-Qaeda may become also stronger. Even if the Taliban would wish to control those terrorist organizations in Afghanistan, it may not be able to do so. So where are we going to be? We are going to return to square one. So the United States and the West will have to be very careful in monitoring the activities of those terrorist organizations in the remote areas of Afghanistan to see whether or not the Taliban is able to control those terrorist organizations. The other thing is refugees. There is already a major refugee problem. This is a major concern, especially for Western Europe, because many of those refugees would like to move to Europe. So terrorism, refugees are the main challenges.
Thank you very much, Professor Eytan Gilboa. Thanks for joining us today.